Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Calhoun's. The folks at all the area Calhoun's locations wish you a Merry Christmas and a good holiday season, and they remind you that they will be open on Christmas for you and your family. Calhoun's. Merry Christmas from Calhoun's. All right. 2 weeks ago, things started to look a little shaky for Tennessee recruiting, but the Vols wound up with a pretty darn good early signing period last week. Here are the recruiting rankings from across the spectrum. The national ranking, 24/7 Sports had them 13th. Rivals had them 12th. Scout 10th. ESPN gave them a B+, which was, as you can see there in the SEC, 6th, 5th, and that B+ would have been 5th in the SEC on ESPN's rank. In the East, only Georgia was ahead of Tennessee. They landed Eric Gray, the running back at the end, Quavaris Crouch to close things out. You beat Clemson for Quavaris Crouch. A lot of people didn't think that Crouch would come here. You beat Clemson. He's the top prospect in the state of North Carolina. Big time get. Jimmy, I'll just start with you. All things considered, with the season they had and the way they finished, pretty good early signing period.
Well, that's a big thumbs up, I think. I was really impressed. I thought they'd get Gray. I did not think they were going to get Crouch. But when I look at the recruits that they have, this group, in my opinion, will contribute more than the first class that he had. The first class he had, there weren't that many of them that did much. There were 3 guys in the secondary. You had a good tight end. There weren't a whole lot of other people that did a lot contributing. This group coming in, I think, will do more as far as being impactful. I really like what they were able to get. And they had to get some defensive linemen. They did. But they've got some athletes, too. This Beasley guy can play a lot of different positions. Crouch said he wants to play linebacker. I thought they did a really nice job.
They also, and this is key, Darrell Taylor announced this week that he's staying, which he was basically your only pass rusher last year and for 3 games. So him coming back is a big one. Also got a former 5-star defensive lineman to transfer from Michigan. He's going to apply to where he could try and play next year, but more than likely it'll be 2020. Either way, another good pickup for Tennessee. You think on paper he's been hurt at Michigan, didn't play a lot, but still you'd rather have a 5-star transferring in than a former 2-star. So a good day for Tennessee on that front. Tennessee did lead the nation. Let's put this next graphic up here. Did lead the nation in the number of scholarship offers they handed out. Guys, they offered 440 kids scholarships. Okay, Ole Miss was next in the SEC at 403. Look how quickly it drops, though. I mean, by the time Alabama and Georgia are just at 281 each, or 280, 285, 281. Chuck, Mike, you guys have any issues with giving out 440? I had somebody tell me this week, well, they look desperate. I thought, they are desperate. Yeah, really. No problem looking desperate if you are desperate. Mike and Chuck, any problem with giving out that many offers?
I don't have a problem with it. They know what they need to do, I guess. But my jaw dropped when I saw that. I thought as a matter of course you maybe offer 200 kids or something like that to get 25, 440.
How do you manage that without a lot of hurt feelings? How do you make that many offers?
Coaches,
yes, exactly, without damaging relationships that you're going to need in the future. So I certainly hope that number drops. I don't want it to go up.
Yeah, the only thing I take away from that is the next time you're sitting at home and you get mad that some kid flips. I mean, they're not going to give 440 kids a scholarship, so the kid has every right to flip if the team can. If the team can throw out 440 for 25, player can flip from one school to another, in my view.
John, the thing that stuns me about that is that we heard that Pruitt typically was not offering a lot of kids until they came to camp.
Right.
I'm not sure 440 kids came to camp.
Yeah.
So, and he also didn't offer a lot of in-state kids because he hadn't seen them at camp yet. So that number really surprises me.
Well, it makes you wonder how many did you get behind the 8 ball and then start throwing more and more? Did you start slow and then start flinging offers left and right? But anyway, 440 was a big one. Bob, let's take a look. I want to show you one more graphic here. All right, this is just 4 and 5 stars. So we'll call it elite talent. We all know that 4s and 5s may strike out. Not all these guys are going to be wonder kids, but at the same time, you'd rather be getting that elite talent because you got a chance to make something really special out of it. You combine just the 5s and 4s, according to 24/7 Sports. Alabama had 25 of them, Georgia 19, Florida 13, Tennessee 10. You've got basically what I did here is the entire SEC East, all of your yearly rivals, plus Alabama, who's a yearly rival. Anything stand out to you?
What stands out to me is Tennessee, if they haven't been as good as South Carolina for the past 3 years, they haven't been as good as Vanderbilt, they haven't been as good as Missouri, but yet you're up there with Florida behind Georgia. I'm not shocked at all that they're behind Georgia. I'm not shocked that they're behind Alabama either. I think that tells you that the perception of Tennessee's program may be better amongst some of these kids. Yeah, I mean, Missouri's owned you. Vanderbilt's owned you. You know, and for you to come out, but you're there with Florida, who had a really good year this year, and then you're just right behind Georgia, which, okay, you start catching up with them a little bit. I think it tells you that maybe the perception of Tennessee outside of here, or maybe the perception of Tennessee outside of here is what a lot of people here still think. Hey, that's Tennessee. That's an upper echelon program, because you left Missouri, Kentucky, South Carolina in the dust.
I will only add, my only concern would be this. Missouri and Vanderbilt, to an extent, they always sign like this.
Right.
They don't get 4s and 5s, and they still coach them up. Dan Mullen didn't have a bunch of 4s and 5 stars at Mississippi State. Now he's got some at Florida. I think it's great that Tennessee's climbing, and we're going to talk a little bit about this coming up, but I think it's great that Tennessee's climbing, but I would be concerned that you've got some programs in there that haven't needed 4s and 5s to beat you. So I don't know that this necessarily means, victory.
Well, and I also think that you're taking different coaches from Tennessee, and now you're into the Pruitt thing. So this might be totally different with Pruitt. I mean, okay,
Could be, yeah.
Maybe the Jones guys didn't coach them up, the Pruitt guys do coach them up, and now you get your separation again with Vanderbilt and Kentucky and South Carolina. You never have been separated from Missouri for whatever reason that is, ever since they've been here.
Yeah, they've pretty much owned you since the beginning of the league.
Derek Mason, SEC Coach of the Year is what I draw from that.
And are they doing a better job of recruiting kids that fit what they're trying to do? You know, that know they can bring them along. They're doing something right.
Yeah.
Maybe they're keeping their strength and conditioning coaches.
That's,
Yeah.
that may be
point.
the biggest story of the week, in fact. The fact that Craig Fitzgerald decided to stay at Tennessee and not go to Maryland despite the big offer from his alma mater and guys that he's worked and coached with. Huge keep for Tennessee this week. Probably their best signee. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk more Tennessee football. Did you hear what Jeremy Pruitt said about offensive coordinator search? I'm sure you did. We'll discuss it.